Hey folks, Ardwulf here. Today we're going to have an unboxing of the latest Bataille release from Clash of Arms. This is Bataille de Preussisch-Eylau, February 7th to 8th, 1807. And this is the third edition. This is not a game that I have played, although I have read about the battle. And I'm not 100% sure I've played another game on this particular battle, which has weirdly become kind of popular. So this guy is in the flat Clash of Arms box, about 1 inch thick. And I'm told there might be some issues with the counters, but we'll take a look and see what we have. So let's open her up and see what Clash of Arms and Company has provided for us. I immediately noticed that the box has that sort of nice Clash of Arms typical matte finish, which I personally kind of like. It also eliminates the glare from my overlit game room. So, what do we got in here? We got two rather pedestrian six-sided dice. We have, well, let's push that over here for the moment. So we got a rule book. We've got a map. Presumably there's more. A counter sheet. A terrain key, which is an interesting way to present the terrain key and not particularly disagreeable. We have a Depot's reference card, which is double-sided, actually. Here's a coalition command table, formation change cost, and cavalry modifiers. Here's another counter sheet. And, of course, you're going to see the very pretty Bataille counters, which regrettably do have some important information on the back. I am seeing no particular registration issues, maybe a little tiny bit. We get an 18 right here that's kind of starting to roll off the side of the counter, so that's a little bit off. We got some more player aids, including the fire effects and fire defense charts. On the other side of that, we've got morale check modifiers, infantry combat modifiers, stacking violations, rolling to stand against the charge à cheval, and infantry assault modifiers. Let's set that over there. And let's throw a map down, actually, because the maps will also be extremely attractive if we have the typical maps that you're provided by Clash of Arms, and it looks like they are. And they're also a very nice kind of linen finish. And, of course, here, right on this particular map, we have the town of Preussisch-Eylau itself. All right, so not mounted maps. These are paper maps, but it is reasonable to assume that you'll be receiving paper maps and not mounted maps in this kind of wargame. There is an additional map, which we'll set aside for the moment. We got another counter sheet here, nice green Russians, and some markers, and it looks like they may have changed and or improved some of the markers. We do have the Bataille 5th edition rules. Now, as far as I know, and any Bataille aficionados in the audience can let me know in the comments if I'm incorrect, this is the current Clash of Arms rule set, as opposed to the Marie-Louise rules, which are designed to be kind of easy, and the Premier rules, which are published by Marshall Enterprises. Between those, they are the main Clash of Arms or the main Bataille rules available at this point. Reasonably large print, book feels like about 32 pages, and it is. I have not played under the 5th edition rules, so it's something I would kind of like to try. Decent number of illustrations, but I would not call this lavishly illustrated by any means, but there's a few things to help you absorb the game. The game system's not really that complicated, other than the basics math that they put into the combat tables, which is an oddball choice, but considering the system's heritage back in the mid-70s, it's perhaps understandable. And I was cool with it when I played Bataille under the Marie-Louise rule, and none of those things are different in the basic rule sets. I would say that the rule sets are, in fact, about 90% the same. All right, so we have French morale level track by corps. Imperial Guard counts as a corps for this purpose. That is, of course, single-sided. There's kind of a lot of stuff in here, actually. Here's the coalition morale level track, which not a lot of Prussians, despite the battle happening at Preussisch-Eylau in this battle. We are mostly talking about Russians who have marched in to help the Prussians out after they have been thoroughly smashed by Napoleon. So we do have setup sheets. And these are on what feels like the same stock as the map. And these are very colorful and attractive as well. So there's going to be one for the coalition here. And they're a little bigger than the box, but they are both the same size. And then we got the French right here. Now, in the Battle of Eylau over the last couple of years, we've seen the Sound of Drums release, which is, I think, called Battles of Napoleon, Eylau. And we have seen the very nice, oh, that's unfortunate. We have seen the very nice Winter's Victory from New England Simulations, which is based on the old Wellington's Victory system. We've got a little tear in one of the layout sheets. I'm not going to get too bent about that because I buy games to play. Whether I get to play them is an entirely different question, of course. We have another sheet of miscellaneous markers, which do include the chits if you are using a chit pull variant of the La Bataille rules. Marie-Louise is like that, for example. We've got another player aid for Coalition Command. That's one-sided. Passage of Time Recorder, which is kind of the typical turn track for La Bataille, along with two battery boxes, one for the French and one for the Coalition. And then we have the Combat Aid card, which contains the Combat à Feu, which is the fire table, and Assault et Melee, which, you know, if my French is bad, please also let me know in the comments. It is pretty good for a bumpkin from Ohio. And then we have another sheet of miscellaneous markers, and this is pretty much a standard counter sheet in La Bataille games at this point. We also got a postcard game, Not Men But Devils, The Battle of Cameroon, 30 April 1863. I don't know anything about this, but we have the rules on the back in super teeny tiny print. Get out your magnifying glasses, folks. These postcard games are actually kind of neat. We'll put it back in the box for the moment. We've also got a little advertisement from Against the Odds magazine, which is, you know, got a few more issues before the whole thing gets retired. Domesday, Strike of the Heron, Trying Men's Souls, Sharpsburg Landscape Turned Red, which I'm interested in seeing, and La Bataille de Calme, which came out through Kickstarter 6 or 8 months ago, I think, something like that. And I've got that, and I got like way more stuff that I haven't even gone through yet. I'm not sure if I did an unboxing of that or not. So we have here the very nice looking, other than the ripped player or setup chart, La Bataille de Eylau. Now the next thing that I need to do is figure out whether there is really a problem with the counters, and specifically whether there is really a problem with my counters. And I will evaluate that and let everybody know, probably as part of the counterclipping show on some Monday night or another. But in the meantime, I'm pretty much cool with not running down very old La Bataille games, some of which can be extremely expensive, in preference to buying the new editions, which are all quite nice, from Clash of Arms and or Marshall Enterprises, who are the two publishers currently doing La Bataille games right now. But every once in a while you'll see one in Against the Odds magazine, although I would imagine we won't see another one. But Calm looks pretty good, and it's a nice small game that uses the premier rules. So that has been an unboxing of La Bataille de Preussisch-Eylau, February 7th through 8th, 1807. Thanks for watching.